Right, good morning everyone. Welcome to the South Wales Fire and Rescue Authority meeting being held today, Monday the 28th of March 2022. Apologies for absence, please.
Councillors R. Brown, Morgan, Shaw, Williams, Sally Chapman and Derry Rhodes.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Sarah.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Hodgins? I can't see Councillor Hodgins at the moment. Councillor White?
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor White. Councillor Davies? I can see you.
Yes, you can. Yes.
Councillor Ellsbury?
Good morning. Yes, I'm here.
Good morning. All Chair, just to advise, Councillor Ellsbury's advised he has to leave at 11. Councillor Hussey?
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Diaz?
Hello, good morning.
Thank you, Councillor Diaz. Councillor Lister? I can't see all Councillor Lister at present. Councillor Norton? I can see you, Councillor.
Hi, sorry, I am here. My laptop just froze for a second.
Thank you. Councillor Colbrand?
Yes, I am here, but I'm on my mobile phone, so my camera may be off for a lot of the meeting, but I am in attendance.
Councillor Colbrand. Councillor Smith? Councillor Smith was online. I believe she'll be joining us again. Councillor Spencer?
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas?
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Bradwick, I can see in the room. Councillor Holmes?
Yes, Sarah, you're mute. Sarah, I didn't think I'd be able to make it this morning, so, Chairman, I might have to leave early, okay? I've just juggled things around.
Thank you for the notice, Councillor Holmes. Councillor Roberts?
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Evans?
Morning, everyone. I'm present. Yeah.
Good morning. Councillor Molson?
Good morning, all. Present.
Good morning. Councillor Drake?
Present.
And Councillor Jarvie?
Present.
Thank you very much. That's a roll call consent.
Thank you, Sarah. Right, declaration of interest. Members of the Fire and Rescue Authority are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare both orally and in writing any personal or prejudicial interest in respect of the matters contained in the agenda in accordance with the provision of the Local Government Act 2000, the Fire and Rescue Authority standing orders and the members' code of conduct. Any declarations of interest?
I have chaired of renewing on page 31. Yeah. So, do you want to?
Anyone else?
Chair, I also have an interest.
Who's on Jerry voice?
Sue Malton.
Sue, thank you. Anyone else? No.
Chair, for officers will leave for agenda item 7.7 regarding Principal Officer pay, but we will leave Chris within the room to maintain the minute taking. That's okay for you, but all other officers will leave, okay?
Okay. Right, I come down to the Chairman's announcements. Members will know that the Deputy Chief Officer, Sally Chapman, has been on extended period of sick leave. And as you know, Sally really struggled with her health over the last few years. It is with regret the independent registered medical practitioner's advice to our own occupational health physician is that Sally's ongoing health is preventing her from returning to the workplace or full-time employment. Sally has been an excellent officer and monitoring officer over the years and ensures the governance and scrutiny of the authority is first class. Sally's knowledge of local governance arrangements is second to none, and I know we'll miss her advice and guidance and commitment. The Chief Fire Officer advised myself and the Deputy Chair that the post of Assistant Chief Officer Corporate Services is now vacant and requires appointing to. The Authority's Appointment Committee needs to complete the selection interview for this post, as the time is now limited on our tenure on this Authority for this term. The Fire Chief Officer will present a paper to the authority post at the AGM in June. Sally's medical retirement will commence on Monday the 16th of May, and I'm sure members will join Chris and Sally. All the best for the future, and we hope the condition improves time. And I'm sure everyone who knows Sally over the years are sad really, because you're doing an excellent officer. You've done a fantastic job for this service and for the members. And all we can do is wish you all the best and improvement of our health for the future. Members are reminded that we have officially entered the pre-election period, and the guidance has been issued by the ACO, Geraint Thomas, in relation to decision making within the Fire and Rescue Authority. The position remains it is business as usual, unless there are very good reasons why this should not be the case. In the vast majority of cases, the pre-election period will have no impact on the normal Fire and Rescue Authority's business. The NGC pay scales, Green Book, which is the local government pay scales resulting from negotiations between the employer and trade union sides of the NJC, have been agreed for 2021 to 22. The increase is 1.75%, and all pay points applicable from April 1st, 2021. Anna Bryden, the Deputy Minister of Social Partnership, will visit our Cardiff Great Trade and Development Centre on the 7th of April. She will meet with myself, the Deputy Chair, and the Chief Fire Officer prior to attending the passing out parade at the latest all-time recruits course. The Independent Remuneration Panel for Wales has issued a final report, which is effective from the 1st of April 2022. Only change from the draft, which is reported to the Fire Authority in December, is the inclusion of a new section of Corporate Joint Committees. If members require a copy of the full report, please contact ACO Geraint Thomas, who can provide an electronic copy. Members are reminded that the emails issued regarding operational incidents are for fire and rescue members information and not should be circulated wider than this attended audience. As this is the last Fire and Rescue Authority meeting before the election in May, I'd like to thank all the members for their dedication, service and commitment they've given to the South Wales Fire and Rescue Authority over the last 5 years. The report is on the agenda, which outlines the fantastic works which achieved during that period. I'd like to take the opportunity to wish all the members standing for election the best of luck, and to those who are not standing, the very best wishes for their future endeavours. Thank you all for the service you've given to your communities and to the whole of the South Wales. I'd also wish to extend that to all the staff who supported us through all that period of 5 years. Excellent support as far as I'm concerned and advice. And I wish to have that recorded as much as anyone else on the Fire Authority. It's been a team effort, and that's important. Finally, as a member, you will know. Finally, as the members know, I was awarded a member of the Order of the British Empire and the MBE in the Majesty's Queen's Birthday Honours List in 2020. Regretfully, I was unable to attend the Royal Residence to receive my medal, but I did celebrate receiving it from the Lord Lieutenant of Middle Morgan, Professor Peter Vaughan, last Thursday at our headquarters. It was an evening I never forget, and I'm humbled to receive such a recognition. I'd like to thank the members of the staff for their continued support and providing a fantastic evening last week. Can I say, the icing on the cake was that Sally turned up, which was excellent as far as I'm concerned, to see her. And I did ask specifically if she could attend, and she did turn up, and thank you for that. I'd like to put on record my thanks to all the staff who attended, and the family and everyone else were overwhelmed with their support on that night, and I'll always remember it. I will now state, obviously, this is my last meeting, the chairman of the Fire Authority, because I will be seeking that from May after the election. It's been a, how can I say, fantastic journey. I've met many, many fantastic officers of every level in this service. 10 years as chair with my vice chair, and I'd like to thank him and Tom Becker for his involvement. Don't look so sad yet.
No, sorry.
And as far as I'm concerned, it's something I would never have missed. And I would say to anyone, it's an experience that everyone should be seeking, because we've got a fantastic setup here. No question about that. But that's the way life is. 23 years as a member and 10 years as a chairman. You look back, you wonder where the time's gone. But that's the way life is at the moment. So I wish everyone the best of health and good luck for the future.
Chair, Councillor Steve Evans is coming.
I'm here too.
Yeah, oh, thanks for that. Just to say that thank you for your support the last 5 years, and for your leadership and your support for the fire service. And I hope that you take it a bit easier the next time around. So thank you for your help, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for supporting us in our roles.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
Chair, can I say, as you know, there was a horrific fire in the Rhondda on Thursday night, and I saw this fire at first hand when I was coming to your event, because I got lost in Tylerstown. I didn't know where the hell I was going, but I did get you. Councillor Robert Bevan, Mark Adams and Julie Edwards, the members for Tylerstown and Anasir, want to put their gratitude to Selkirk's Fire and Rescue for the professionalism they were on Thursday night, was for this fire not to spread to neighbouring buildings, because it really could. And also, I'd like to put my thanks to all the firefighters for the grass fires. Lucky in our city, we haven't had so many, touch wood, but I know they've been really worked off their socks recently. But the three members for Tylerstown, Stanleytown, Watchtown wanted to thank the service and the chief officer to pass their thanks for the professionalism of his staff. They were outstanding. They were really good. Yeah.
Thank you, Steve. You recall that, okay? Right.
I think David White wanted to come on today.
Dave White, you want to come on? Anyone else? You're on mute, Dave.
I don't know whether this is the right place, but just to say thank you. I've only been in the fire authority for 7 years. And thank you for your leadership and, guiding me through the last 7 years. And the fire authority is in a much better place because of your chairmanship, and whoever takes place gets the role of chair, and then come me, is a hard act to follow.
You're taking this to talk to see now, are you?
No, I'm not going to prejudge anybody here now.
Anyway, thanks for that, Dave. Much obliged. See you on to everyone else. The chairman is only good as the members and the officers. Let's put that straight, all right? Okay, then, we go on to see the minutes of the Fire Rescue Authority meeting held on the 14th of February 2022. That's from page 5. As you know, frustratingly, annoyingly, I couldn't get into the meeting. So I will ask now for the accuracy of the minutes on page 1, page 2, page 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Don't move the true record or otherwise.
Move that, Chair.
That's seconded.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Second.
Right, now go to the vote. Sarah?
Oh, don't need to vote on that one.
For accuracy?
No, not for accuracy, as long as they moved and seconded.
All right, okay. I'm doing as a chair in my last meeting. Not too late, is it?
Never too late for you, Chair.
Maybe a chairman. For 42 years. Okay. Right, then we go to the next one, which is the H&R Equalities Committee held on the 15th of November on page 50. Pam, you got anything to say, Alec?
No, I would like to move those as a true record, unless you want to take him through page by page.
Oh, no. All we will need, and we do that on the next meeting, all we know is we note the meeting, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. It's a matter for you committee to agree or not whether it's true. Then we go to the Finance and Audit held on the 13th of December on page 19. Steve? Sorry.
No, there's nothing I'd like to put on that, but I'd like to thank all the members for their input. And I'd like to move them if I could.
You moved the note, all right? So we note it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Then we go to HR Equalities Committee held on 24th of January on page 25. Pam?
Move.
Right, so we agree to note?
Chairman.
Yes, Hunter?
Thank you. I was actually present at that meeting on the 24th of January, and on the 28th of February at the following meeting, it was agreed that those earlier minutes would be corrected to show that I was present. But I see from this that they haven't been corrected for this meeting, and I'd like that to be done, please.
That'll be done on the next meeting, I'll show you that. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Hunter. Right, then to item 6, Upgrade of Actions on page 31. Darren, please.
Yeah, there's a few actions that require updates on it. I'll cover a couple of them off first, and then I'll pass over to Alison Reid, who's going to as well. So the first one, Action 2021-32, regarding the acquisition of land at New Inn. Unfortunately, we've tried various forms of communication to contact the owners of the land. Last attempt, we tried letters gone directly from the chief, setting out the sort of case and the need for us to potentially acquire the land in that area. We've even tried telephoning and email again right up until Friday last week, but unfortunately we've had no response whatsoever from the owners of the land. We've done an initial search of the locality, and feedback coming back from our agents is no other alternative sites. So we've sort of got to make a decision now whether to redevelop our existing site or to continue looking for alternative sites. But as we know with Pontypridd, the lessons learned from there, as time dragged on, the condition of the existing site was failing badly, and the same is going to happen to New Inn. So as a leadership team, we'd be taking a decision fairly soon, and obviously coming back to the Fire Authority with information.
There's no additional land around our ownership.
No, unfortunately,
the site is what it is now.
Yes,
can't expand any further.
We sold land off from there, actually. We downsized the site some years ago, didn't we? Because it used to be at what was then Gwent and the divisional headquarters in previous years gone by. So
that's no longer available anyway. So okay, then wish you all the best on that. But we don't want the same situation. Pontypridd, as far as I'm concerned. I've been there once, and yes, it needs that. Okay. Then.
Chairman, if I may make a point, it's Val. I would feel a regret if the Fire Authority had to go ahead with improvements on that site. Like the Torfine member, I know the site well. It's not a good location. I hope that officers will search hard. There is possibly an opportunity, perhaps ours, to talk to Grant. But I don't think development of that site would be the best thing for this authority. That's just me, Val.
Well, that's right, but the practicality at the end of the day, as the officer said, they've looked for other sites and they can't find another site.
Sometimes local knowledge is useful, Chairman.
Well, the local knowledge is there with the authority. I assume have you asked the authority? Yes, the authority. I assume they would do that.
Yeah, but next door.
Yeah, they have proven that they have gone to the local authority, and obviously they were the ones where land is available, privately or with authority. But the answer coming back is there's no convenient site. So all we can do now is look at it from the point of view of using the current site. Let's see what comes out of it. That's all we say at the end of the day. All I hope you haven't got 3 decks, 3 levels, skyscraper type of thing.
So just for members' assurance, we'll continue, exploring every last option on this alternative site until.
Yeah, thanks, Gary.
All right, thanks, Val.
The other actions, and just quickly from me, the proposed new terms of reference and scrutiny committee, that's on the agenda, so I'll cover that off when we get to that one. And the other one I got before I hand over to Al was the 21-22-41 point 3.5, the responses to the consultation on the strategic themes. There was a question in the last authority meeting regarding the percentage figures for members of staff that responded to the survey. So as you will see on page 34, there was 9.8% of staff, 158 staff that responded to the survey. And then within the question around valuing our people section, 3.6, 58 staff responded positively, and 1.4%, 23 staff responded negatively. So there was a particular query raised at that meeting. I'll hand over to Al now for just updates on.
Yeah, thanks, Gareth. So there are two pensions actions. Just to update on those, so we are confirming that we're continuing to work on the immediate detriment cases, and that we will only come back if there are any significant taxation or legal issues identified. I've updated the very first action, which is 2122 17.3.2, to include an update from the Scheme Advisory Board for Wales. It's the All Wales Pension Board that's chaired and supported by Welsh Government, and the update that we had in the February meeting, there was confirmation that the provision definition documents that are setting out the policy intent and rationale going forward have been delayed. So the update is there for your information. The second update is around identifying resources to undertake the ID work. Those are now in place. I think that action can probably be closed. The next two actions, Living Wage Foundation, we have registered as a living wage employer, and we're now working with the Living Wage Foundation on the sort of the detail of that agreement, which will include our staff and our suppliers going forward. The annual pay policy statement, that has been approved and will be published on the website by the 31st of March.
Thank you, Alison. Anyone got any questions on the board? No. No? Okay. Right, then we go to item 7, reports for divisions. 10.1 is the Auditor's Annual Audit Summary 2021, pages 37. And we have Nick Selwyn from the Audit Office, Audit Wales, sorry.
Good morning, Chair.
Thank you.
Thanks for the invite to the meeting and the opportunity to speak to members. The report before you is a single report that summarises the findings from our total programme of audit work completed in the last financial year. So just to say, this is not meant to be an exhaustive, fully detailed analysis of all the work that we've undertaken. It's simply bringing together in one place the key conclusions from our different pieces of audit work into a single document. In terms of what's included before members, your attention to two key areas. Firstly, the audit of accounts. The report notes that in completing the audit of the authority's financial statements, we give a fair and unqualified opinion and issued the certificate confirming that the audit of accounts had been completed. And generally, we found the information that was provided to us to undertake this work was of a good quality. So in terms of the audit of accounts, there was no major issues of concern. Everything was fine. And the second part of the report, which I would draw your attention to, is the section that talks about our major review from last year, which looked at the sustainability and resilience of the authority's services in the broader sense. We produced this work across all 3 fire authorities in Wales, and each had similar sort of conclusions, that we recognised that the authority was in a good place and was very resilient, but felt there was some opportunity to take some short-term decisions to address some issues in the longer term. And in that work, we made 2 proposals for improvement. The rest of the report then talks about national work that we've undertaken across Wales, and we highlight several pieces of work which will be of interest and relevance for this particular organisation. Firstly, the reviews we've undertaken in how public bodies have responded to the pandemic, and we've produced a number of reports in recent months highlighting the positive work by the public sector in responding to what's been a very challenging 2 years. And then 2 specific pieces of work looking at local government, which will be of interest to the authority. The first one talks about and is in respect of council discretionary services, which was published in April 2021, and that review is available online and provides a brief summary of the key issues facing local government, but a lot of the information in that report will be of relevance to yourselves. And the second one then talks about our review of town centres and the regeneration programme that Welsh Government's been pursuing in recent years. And no doubt some of the findings in that particular piece of work will be of relevance to the authority as well. And that was published in September. Finally then, at the end of the report, we highlight the work that we're undertaking this year. And just to note that we've concluded our review of how the authority is approaching carbon emissions reduction. We've cleared the contents of the report with the authority and we'll be presenting the findings of that work to a future meeting. So that's just a very quick run through the annual audit summary, Chair, and I'm happy to take any questions members may have.
Thank you, Nick. So you were confirming we've got no major problems, which has been for the last 10 years, which is down to our officers. Would that be true, Nick?
I think the report highlights that in the short term, in the current position, you're in a good place. However, it does highlight there are some opportunities, as the same for most public bodies, if not all, that you need to think about in the future. So yes, I would say that the authority is in a pretty good place.
Thank you for that, Nick. Anyway, Darren, do you want to make any comment?
No, it's a positive report. This is culminating the annual work that's done, and looking at the work that a report will be presented on the carbon reduction plan that'll go to the Finance Audit Committee now in April. So yeah, I think it's been from an audit perspective for the authority, it's been a very positive year, and I know it was raised at the last meeting, the feedback when Steve and myself met with Nick around the corporate resilience report. So yeah, I think things are looking up, I think.
No, I can't get my word this morning. Chair. Thank you, Nick, for that presentation. Really nice presentation from you. Thank you very so much.
Well,
can I ask a question, Chairman, please? I'm not sure how to. I've pressed the knob with the lower hand. Can you please give me a bit of revision, gentlemen, Monday morning? The resilience report, what were the two issues that you felt particular concern about that we could improve on, please?
Right. I'll have to get the report up. So if you just give me a second, I'll sort that out.
It's all right. I'm having a Monday morning.
There are two recommendations made within the work. I can certainly confirm that to Geraint, who can pass that on to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman.
Any other members wondering any questions to Nick? We can go back. Okay. Every day of work today, Monday morning. No other questions or comments? No further comments?
Nope.
Right. Someone moves in that we accept the vote.
I move, Chair.
That's seconded.
Yeah, I second that. Yeah.
Right, Sarah, to a vote, please.
Thank you. So moving on to the vote. Councillor White. Councillor White. We'll come back to Councillor White in a minute. Councillor Davies.
Well, yes.
Move, yes. Councillor Ellsbury. Councillor Ellsbury, do you want to vote on this item?
He's on mute at the moment, Sarah.
I'll move on to Councillor Hussey. Councillor Hussey?
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Diab?
In favour.
You. Councillor Lister, I believe, is not online at the moment. Councillor Norton?
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Colbrand?
Yes, in favour.
Thank you. Councillor Smith?
Support.
Thank you. Councillor Spencer?
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas?
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Bradwick?
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Holmes?
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts?
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Evans?
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Molson?
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Drake?
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Jarvie?
For.
Thank you. I'm just very briefly going back. Councillor Ellsbury?
Yes, in favour.
Oh, thank you. And Councillor White. Thank you. Councillor White, you're on mute. If you'd like to indicate the thumbs up if you're having technical issues, or thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with the internet this morning. I lost about 20 seconds of the presentation, but what I did hear of it, I would agree to whether you can accept that, or if not, I'd like to abstain.
Okay, thank you, Councillor White. That's noted. In that case, Chair, Councillor Tudor, unanimous for everyone that could.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Nick. Much obliged to you. Right, we go to 7.2, the annual quality report for the period of April 1st, 2020 to 31st of March 2021 on page 47. And we got our friend Alison.
Thank you, Chair. Morning, members. So we are required to publish an annual equality report each year. The aim of the report is to demonstrate compliance with the general equality duty, and in particular looking at the Wales specific duties. The report itself is at Appendix 1 and focuses very much in on the Wales specific duties. Just to highlight some of the areas in the report, starting really on the report page 9 with the general duty, and highlighting on page 10 of the report the Wales specific actions that we have in place. Just to highlight a few of those that are scattered throughout the report. Some of the approaches to our recruitment and attraction strategy we are constantly reviewing and changing. We've shown some visible role modelling this year in terms of using our staff to share their own stories around things like Black History Month, LGBT History Month, and promoting International Women's Day. The socio-economic duty, we have introduced a new integrated assessment, and that guides our thinking and decision making as a service. The importance of our new personal review, so our new appraisal process that we introduced last year, and in particular the development of our people, so some new work underway on our learning pathways, and then how we will monitor all of this through our internal monitoring mechanisms using our system called BMIS to track and to monitor progress. So I'll stop there. Happy to take any questions or comments.
Right, anyone got any questions or comments on that report?
A good report.
It's a very in-depth one, I can say that, and easy to follow. Anyone got any comments? Everyone happy then? So if that's the case, can someone move that we accept the report?
I move, Chair.
I'll second it. Yeah, I'll second it.
Sarah, please.
Thank you. Councillor White.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Davies.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Ellsbury has left us. Well, Councillor Hussey.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Diaz.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Norton.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Colbrand.
Yes, in favour.
Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Support.
Thank you. Councillor Spencer.
Support.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Bradwick.
Favour.
Councillor Hone.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Evans.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Molson.
In favour.
Very much. Councillor Drake.
In favour.
Thank you. And Councillor Jarvie.
In favour.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Right, we go to the next item is 7.3, the gender pay gap report on page 93. Alison?
Thank you, Chair. So once again, we are required to publish our gender pay gap under the Equality Act. And the date that we are required to publish this by is the 30th of March. So if approved today, we will put this up to the website in the next couple of days. The snapshot of data is taken as at the 31st of March each year. So this is a snapshot as at the 31st of March 2021. What you will see in terms of the appendix, so the figures in Appendix 1, so this is the English version, are highlighted there. Last year's figures are highlighted in brackets. So what you will see is a slight widening of the gender pay gap when comparing women with men. There are many different reasons why the gender pay gap increases for organisations. Generally, this will include career choices made by individuals, any increases to salary, including overtime payments, contracts, etc. What I can say in terms of the gender pay gap that we are reporting in this report is that when comparing the number of males in employment on the date of the snapshot compared to the previous year, we employed 56 more males. So I would suggest that that's one of the areas that is driving our gender pay gap. What we are doing, though, as I've just mentioned in terms of the previous report, is we will continue to review our recruitment and attraction strategy going forward. We have not yet concluded our job evaluation exercise, so we will review that to see the impact in terms of male and female pay. Just to share some figures from the latest recruitment exercise, so the whole time campaign that we're partway through, we have seen an increase of 2% of female applicants through that exercise. So an increase from 10% to 12%. So we are moving in the right direction. And in terms of the applicants from ethnic backgrounds, we've seen just over 2% increase from 2.7% up to 5%. So hopefully moving in the right direction, but just to give you a flavour of how that figure is derived, and I'll pause there.
Thank you, Alison. Anyone any questions to Alison?
I haven't got a question, Chairman.
Yes.
I can't resist. Go on. Do you wish to alter from the gender pay gap to the gender pay gap? There's only a slip of the thumb. Go on. I've read the report. In the summary at the beginning, it says publish a gender pay gap. Come on, you've not done your homework, gents and ladies.
Thank you, Val.
Yeah.
No, go on.
Well done, Val.
Makes you smile at times, Chairman.
I know, you always make us smile, Val.
Shall I move the recommendations?
Well, can I just say the percentage got
I'll second it anyway.
female, right? We got, on the 7th, we got another group going out. Any included in that number?
I'd have to get back to you, Chair, on the diversity mix.
Oh, just
24 on that whole time.
Well, that 20% already, that new 10% has already started, So.
Yeah. No, this is the recruitment campaign.
I know.
Next one, so we've already.
We say that. Always ask for that question, I mean, the point at the end of the day is the number of we'll apply for, isn't it?
Regrettably, we do not attract underrepresented groups that are currently employed within the service at the point of entry. So if the numbers are low from a base point, as we move through 1,500, 1,600 applicants down to about 80 or 90, the attrition rate then affects those underrepresented groups particularly. So you end up with particularly less then at the end. So it's a piece of work that Alan and the team are doing, particularly Chwarae Teg and others, is around how do we ensure, particularly for whole-time firefighters, they are attractive for underrepresented, particularly females that we don't see a large percentage apply in the first place.
Okay. Right. It's been moved and seconded. Someone want to ask a question then?
No, I was just wondering, Chairman, the low numbers of women who are applying to serve in the service, they're actually, we're trying to enlist, obviously, for active service. Come on, getting out on the job and actually attending fires and incidents, not administrative jobs. It's not a blanket application thing, is it?
No. So we
Right.
there'd be different application routes, Councillor Smith, for what job that individuals want to apply for. So we'd have whole-time application routes, we'd have on-call application routes, and then our roles would be advertised individually, depending on the skill sets required for those individual roles as well.
So it's all the jobs rolled into one that produces that percentage, or the applications.
Yes, Councillor Smith. For the gender pay gap figures, it's all roles in service.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Right. It's been moved and seconded on the report.
Councillor Evans,
we have a vote now?
Certainly.
Councillor Evans.
Just to see that that in the paper or within the last couple of weeks there was a tremendous picture to represent South Wales Fire of the smallest firefighter of a female gender and the tallest firefighter, and I thought that was excellent to prove that we are trying to attract more different genders and equality and everything else. So we are moving forward, and I thought that was an excellent photo to put in to represent the service.
Thank you, Steve. Right, let's go to the vote then.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor White.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Davies.
Yes.
Councillor Hussey.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Diaz.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Norton.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Colbrand.
Yes, in favour.
Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Support.
Thank you. Councillor Spencer.
Support.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas.
Agree.
Thank you. Councillor Bradwick.
Agree, yes.
Thank you. Councillor Holmes.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts.
Agree.
Thank you. Councillor Evans.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Molson.
In favour.
Councillor Drake.
In favour.
Thank you. And Councillor Jarvik.
For.
That again was
Thank
unanimous.
you. We go to item then 7.5, which is the proposed reforms of the Security Committee Group on page 101. I say that this is a long drawn out one, which myself and the Vice Chair asked for some time ago. I forget when it was, so long ago, but we felt that the Security Committee of 50 members out of 24 was lopsided, as far as we're concerned, the more accountable type of security. So I'll ask to just go through it first, and then we can discuss it. Oh, by the way, okay, Gareth, you go ahead with it now, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Members will be aware that there's sort of been various iterations of this report presented. I think during the last municipal year, it culminated at this point last year, where it was asked to go back through the committee route to look for alternative proposals. The difficulty that we've had in sort of coming up with proposals for the scrutiny group is members will be aware, for it to be in its truest sense of an independent scrutiny group, there was only 2 Fire Authority members available who didn't sit on any committees. And obviously, the numbers just wouldn't be allowable going forward to have only 2 members as a scrutiny group. So it was put back through the committee structure during this municipal year. Initially went to the scrutiny group in October, and they sort of came up with proposals that were then taken to HR and Equalities, and then taken on to the Finance, Audit and Performance Management Committee. The gist of the proposals that they made is that chairs and deputy chairs of the Fire Authority and committees shouldn't be able to sit on a scrutiny group going forward, and that members of FAPM committee would not be able to sit on the scrutiny group either, but members of HR and Equality committees are. The other option, the other thing they looked at was obviously inviting co-opted members, subject matter experts, as and when required, depending on the items on the agenda. But also, as part of the proposal that they made, was that the current makeup of the HR and Equalities Committee is 15 members, and historically that had been as low as 5. So was there a possibility to review that? So the proposals were taken through the committees, and the sort of general support has been there to come back to this point today. However, so sort of post the reports going out and being public, but conversation with the chair who's come up with an alternative proposal. Which
can I say, first of all, I never got involved with it at all on any committees, because obviously I asked for it. I kept out until the meeting today, all right?
Yeah. So it's like I said, it's only since the reports have been drafted for today, and discussion with myself and the chair is a suggestion, which could be voted on today. Is that looking at the numbers of members, obviously with the current structure of FAPM being 10 Fire Authority members, if the HR and Equalities was reduced, instead of 15 down to 10, reduced to 12, it would mean 22 members of the Fire Authority would sit on those 2 established committees, and then only the chair and deputy chair wouldn't be part of any of those committees, which is, as I say, an alternative proposal. So it would mean then that probably going back through the scrutiny group to take a vote on whether that proposal's workable for myself and colleagues to be able to develop a more detailed table of reference, because at the moment we're just looking at the makeup of the board. So I think the options are to either go with the original recommendations that have been put through, set out on paragraphs 2.3 and 2.4, and then the additional one of 2.5, and reducing the numbers down for HR and Equality down to 10, or whether the alternative that's been put today of reducing it down to 12. So I'll pause at that point and open it up for discussion, Chair.
Chair, can I just say this before we go any longer? Why I've looked at that, because every member should put a certain amount of hours. Am I right? Is it 20 lay members?
Yes, sir.
And as well, like I said, I want to involve the 22 members on the major committees. That's the first start. Now, the concern when they said about 7 members for scrutiny, there was concern when the members didn't turn up and you wouldn't have enough on that when you need it. When I say instead of 10 on the HR, 12, obviously the chair and vice chair cannot be considered a scrutiny committee anyway. What I was looking at is that you elect 7 members for the scrutiny committee and have 3 reserves. You see where I'm coming from? At least you were guaranteed possibly of having 7 members attending. And everyone's involved. The 22 members are involved. I know there were 2 at the moment. They're on standards committees or they're on the pension committee. But they're not on the full committee. And I want the 22 to be involved. Because the chair and vice chair of the authority is on no committees anyway. So that's the background of it, of utilising and making sure every member has an input into a major committee. And safeguarding the fact that if you go for 7 for the scrutiny committee, you have 3 reserves out of that 10. You all see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Right. See, you want to come in?
Yeah, well, I got a bit different view I have. This has just been put forward to us now. I don't think it's fair on the new authority that's coming in after the AGM that we should impose anything on the new authority. I think we should, a recommendation should go that we, I can't think of the word to say now, that we should agree to postpone this until the new authority comes in after the AGM, so they can look in further detail on what the pros of what Gareth have just said to us. I think that's the best way forward. I think so. I don't believe in setting something in stone today that could affect the new authority and it could have complications. We need to really dig down and look at this.
I agree with 100%. All I'm saying, put another option there for them to consider. See?
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making. Okay. Anyone else got any comments to make?
Can I propose that we defer it then?
Can I make a... I read the report as
Dan, you want to come in, then Dan wants to come in.
because I think in one way it's commendable to sort of say, okay, let's bring it to the next authority. We've been talking about this for a long time, Chairman, and I think to go into the new authority with them expected to make decisions on perhaps not such a clear understanding as to how things are organised or whatever, I felt the recommendations in this report from officers were fine. And also the explanation as to why we were going to a low number for the whatever. We had a lot of issues with staff, and that was why the number was increased to 15, because getting members there to actually get these issues through. So I've thought about this seriously. I don't think you should be postponing again. We make a decision. We are elected members. Let's make a decision. Let's get on and give the new authority the route that it can take. If it doesn't like it, they can review again. But at least you're going in with a set of rules and regulations. So I am happy to support the proposal. The explanation as to why we went up to 15, yes, I remember that clearly, putting in quite a few hours on that. So I'm happy to support the recommendation that's had considerable thought and discussion over the last few months, Chairman. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but this member does feel this is okay, the proposal, go with it, let the new authority see how it works.
Well, in a way, you put a procedural motion now, because we need to sort this out, first of all, whether or not we defer it for the next fire authority. So we've got to decide on that. If it's moved and supported, there's no discussion. It's just that all the recommendations we got here will go to the new authority.
John is to speak.
Well, while you moving that we do not defer.
I am moving that this report is accepted, that we do not defer.
Right. Is anyone second that?
I second that.
Right. So we've got a procedural motion now, and we've got to vote for or against it. Okay? Once we decide that, then we know which way forward you go in. So I will ask all those in favour of this matter be agreed today and confirmed on which way we're going. Can you take a vote?
Certainly, Chair. I'll go through. So if members can vote whether we approve today. Councillor White.
I think we should defer it. We're too near the election, and we're in Purda. Let's defer it. Whoever takes on authority in May, let them decide that they can use this report for guidance.
Thank you, Councillor White. Councillor Davies.
I'm against it, yeah.
Defer. Councillor Ellsbury has left us. Councillor Hussey.
Against.
So you don't want to defer, just making sure I'm getting that right. Okay.
No, I want to.
Sorry, you do want to defer. Apologies, members. Okay, Councillor Diath.
Defer.
Thank you. Councillor Norton.
Do not defer.
Thank you. Councillor Colbrand.
Defer.
Thank you. Councillor Smith.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Spencer.
Defer.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas.
Defer.
Councillor Bradwick.
Defer.
Councillor Holmes.
Defer.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts.
Defer.
Councillor Evans.
Deferred.
Thank you. Councillor Molson.
Defer.
Thank you. Councillor Drake.
Defer.
And Councillor Jarvie.
Defer.
I think I lost that one.
Members.
It's the first one you ever got, Mark.
I love that.
No.
Anyway, so the matter now, as far as I'm concerned, will be deferred.
I think it's the right decision.
All I would ask then, that the other options I put in will be considered. Would you all agree to refer those to the new? Would you all agree that all options that we mentioned will be referred to them? All right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, agree, yeah.
What, Dan?
Well, Chair, now that we deferred it and it's going to be reopened again, the whole thing, I think it may as well reopen the whole thing for the new, obviously, authority. So we should really leave everything open to them with, all options, clear. So no preferred options. They might want to have a whole new model. Obviously, because we've decided now as an authority that we're not going to proceed further, we shouldn't really be putting any preference to them at all. So they might want to have, totally different models, maybe even no members on the scrutiny committee. We don't know what the new members would want. So I think if we are going to obviously defer it, it needs to be all fully started again for the new authority.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah, Councillor, not obviously, yeah, the options are there, for that to be considered. But obviously the history, because this is going back quite a while, but the history will be presented before any other options are considered.
And that new, the authority says, well, we want to be with you. They start from scratch. That's a matter for them then. Okay, all right, Dan? Okay. Okay, then, so it's all agreed to be deferred anyway. Right, then we go to 7.5 delegated powers on page 107.
Thank you, Chair.
All right. We don't want no raffle around you.
Who's that?
Sorry, can I just remind members, please, to put themselves on mute unless they're contributing? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Chair. This one's a sort of standard administrative procedure. Obviously, as we know, entering into the pre-election period, so between now, the run-up to the elections, and then the next AGM of the Fire Authority in the new municipal year, there's a period where we're likely to be without the Fire Authority sitting, and unless there's the need to call Fire Authorities for an emergency meeting before the elections in May, which hopefully we wouldn't do, it's obviously to give myself and the Chief Fire Officer delegated authority to carry out any urgent business at the need of the service. It's a standard procedure that happens every sort of period of election. So every I was going to say every 4 years, but it's every 5 years now, so it changes. So it's a standard delegation that's given. Hopefully, it's not something that we'll need to draw upon. And any decisions that myself or the Chief do need to take will be done collaboratively and then reported back at the earliest point to the Fire Authority. So it's just asking for those delegations to be approved.
Can I move that we support this report? Is that seconded?
Yeah, second that, yeah.
I'll go for the vote then.
Certainly. Councillor White. Councillor White. Come back to Councillor White. Councillor Davies.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Hussey.
I'll have to abstain there, Beck, because I lost connection for a couple of minutes then.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Diab.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Norton.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Colbrand.
Yes, in favour.
Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Support.
Thank you. Councillor Spencer.
Sorry, I'll have to abstain. My phone went off.
Certainly. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Thomas.
Agree.
Thank you. Councillor Bradwick.
Yeah, okay, agree.
Thank you. Councillor Holmes.
Agreed.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts.
Agree.
Thank you. Councillor Evans.
Agree.
Thank you. Councillor Molson.
Agree.
Thank you. Councillor Drake.
Agreed.
Thank you. Councillor Jarvie.
4.
Thank you. Councillor White, I couldn't hear you vote. Councillor White? No, I still can't get anything from Councillor White. So for those that could vote, Chair, that was an
Thank you, everyone. Right, then we go to item 7.6, Treasury Management Strategy 2022 to 23 on page 111. We have the pleasure of Lisa being here today again.
Okay, good morning. This paper presents the Treasury Management Strategy. So the Fire Authority is required to approve in advance of its financial year its government's arrangements for Treasury management activities. And all that is contained in Appendix 1 for reference. And this plan is to approve operations from the 1st of April 2022 until the 31st of March 2023. The purpose of this report is for members to consider the Treasury management activities, limits and measures put in place and required to deliver the capital spending plans in a prudent and sustainable manner to ensure cash resources are managed effectively. Just remind members that South West Fire Rescue Service does not receive funding in support of its capital investment plans. This is done wholly by borrowing from PWLB, some grants and a smaller amount set aside from the revenue budget. So the approval of the Treasury Management Strategy provides the control framework within which officers will work and can operate. And it seeks to, as far as possible, limit the cost of borrowing and maximise the returns from investments, make sure that there's adequate liquidity. So it's really about funding our capital plans, managing the impact on our revenue budget, and remaining solvent, which is a measure of an organisation's financial health, demonstrating its ability to manage operations into the foreseeable future. So the Appendix 1 sets out the capital prudential indicators and the financial impact of them, the Treasury management indicators that are set to constrain our operation. So there's limits there for borrowing to make sure that we behave and operate prudently. And then there's an MRP policy, which is the repayment of any borrowing that we have. It's quite a detailed report, so just to highlight some points, there are no major policy changes this year from last year. That's the big thing to note. There's 3 reports that come to members each year. This is the first in advance of the year, so this sets the strategy. We provide an update then during the year before Christmas each year on progress, and then we provide a backward-looking report which gives a review, and that's done by 30th of September then each year. The strategy contains some key tables there of information. The important ones being on 2.1, which encapsulate the capital borrowing and repayment plans that we've got in place. The driver for all of those is our capital spending plans. And then 3.1 sets out then the borrowing portfolio and further down the investment portfolio. And after that then we've got some financing costs, some affordability limits and borrowing limits, and some prospects for interest rates then going forward. Right at the back, for extra reading, there's appendices on the economy, forecast for how that's going to perform going forward with inflation rates, how those will affect bank rate, because as you can see from the table in 2.1, we do plan to borrow going forward to fund our investment plans. So knowing what the bank rates are going to move to and from in the near future is key to the timing of our borrowing. And I think I'll stop there and take any questions.
Have we got any questions?
I got 2 Q&A. I haven't.
Councillor Evans has a question as well.
Steve?
Yeah, I know we're under borrowing at the moment, but with the markets the way they are and procurement and everything else, do you think we're going to be in a position to keep it under borrowed rather than going to our maximum limits?
Yes, I think so, because the under borrowing position is not a reflection of what it costs us to borrow, which could increase. It's about how much we need to borrow to sort of fund capital plans. So at this moment in time, they've been put together on market sort of prices and contract values that we know about. Hopefully, in the economic update, it does say that anything could happen. There's no certainty on what's going to happen in the economy moving forward, but that the demand that's out there at the moment that's driving the high prices could level off, you know. So hopefully we won't see the continuing peaks in costs for vehicles and buildings and things like that, building materials and services. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the reason I asked that is just that there's uncertain times with everything going on, and in the financial sector, it's a bit of a time bomb at the moment. So that's why I asked that.
Yeah.
Can I just
Anyone else?
Yeah, just a comment, Chairman. Your geopolitical risks, I think they varied a bit since you wrote the report there. It's an interesting time. I thank you for the report. I used to find, well, it is heavy going for me, but I do find it an interesting report to read now, and I've got more comprehension than I used to have. So thanks very much indeed. And as I say, looking at that last paragraph, the geopolitical risks, and if Russia were to invade, yay, oh yay. So thank you very much, Mary.
Anyone else? Right, before we go, well, we can go to the someone move the report and that.
Yeah, move the report, Chair. Yeah.
I'll second it.
Yeah, I'll second it. Yeah.
Right, take the vote on that then first.
Thank you. Councillor White. Councillor White. Councillor Davies.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Hussey.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Diaz.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Norton.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Colbrand.
Yes, in favour.
Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Sorry, support.
Thank you. Councillor Spencer.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas.
Agree.
Thank you. Councillor Bradwick.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Holmes.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Evans.
In favour.
Councillor Mawson.
In favour.
Thank you. Councillor Drake.
In favour.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Jarvie.
In favour.
Thank you. That was unanimous, Chair.
Thank you. Can I just raise a matter which Lisa is very well aware of? Remember, I asked you for the figures on the levying.
Yes.
And you give me a list. We've got it in front of me as well. In fact, it's the most favourite document that I've got. And somewhere on the minutes, I would like, well as under this item or well under the chairman's announcement as well. I think we know, I want to get this across to the public.
Chair, I think we might be able to do it under 8.1 if you wanted to.
8.1? Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes, yeah.
But it's such an excellent report, and we need to put it to the public, all right?
I think you'll be able to.
And thank everyone who's doing it, okay? Right. We now go to item 7.7.
Yeah, we'll
leave us.
We'll leave the room. If I can ask,
we can manage. We've always lost one. We haven't got the expertise of the officers with us. But,
you'll have Chris with you. Alison will present the report.
Well, she can make it for all you.
Alison will present the report, but will leave when members have the discussion. And if I can ask Chris, Wayne, and Richie who are online to disconnect, and we'll ring them when we allow back in for the remaining agenda items. Thank you.
Okay, Chair.
Yes,
so
Alison, if you don't mind.
Just a very brief introduction. As members will know, the review of the brigade manager remuneration was requested by Fire Authority members following the completion of the job evaluation exercise for Green Book employees, and that followed the report that we put to Fire Authority last July, which commenced the job evaluation project itself. As indicated in the report itself, there is a twin track approach for reviewing pay annually for principal officers. The first is through the NJC and the second is through the HR and Equalities Committee of the Fire and Rescue Authority. Following a discussion of senior members quite recently, it was agreed that consideration of the report would be deferred until the new municipal year so that more information can be obtained, and that would include budget implications and any other information. So that's as much as I was going to say by way of an introduction. I'll leave the room now and let you discuss.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just make the comment that this goes back to October last year when myself and the Vice Chairman had an email from the Chief Officer highlighting certain salary levels of other authorities, fire authorities. And obviously the indications were, could he have a report in relation to our service, which I agreed to do, and Steve agreed to do it. Result of that, we had a draft report in November. We had a further meeting on the 13th of December, myself, Steve, and with the Chief Officer, and Alison. We had an indication, as it happened at that meeting, of a level of possibly a 4% increase, if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, right, go ahead now and have a report. We've had that report. I'm not sure if every member have had that report. But out of that report came not 4%, about a 15.75% increase for the Chief Officer. So, as already been said by Alison, I had a meeting with senior members, the Vice Chairs and Vice Chairs, and the spokesperson for the two groups, Val and Louise. I think it was on the 11th, of last month, where we discussed this, and we felt we didn't have enough time to deal with this. And therefore, we felt that again, it'd be better for it to refer it to a new authority for them to pick it up and take it from there. So that's the bottom line of it. And the recommendation from all, and then the recommendation of myself and from the Vice Chair, that we now defer this to the next fire authority after May election. Anyone got any comments or questions? Dan?
Can I come in, please, Chair?
Oh, Dan first.
Thank you, Chair. I guess I agree with you. Obviously, this has come to HR and qualities as well. We agreed then to obviously, defer any comment to obviously this committee. I do agree, obviously, because there's a financial impact on the authority. It is best to obviously leave it until a new committee, and obviously then we obviously have a new financial year. So the next financial year, not this one. So it can be reviewed in the budget. So I don't think it's really much for us to discuss on this topic today.
Okay. Who else wants to speak?
Yes, please, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. As I've said, any discussion is going to be irrelevant. The new authority will make their own decisions and what they want to do. And I think we should just say that, okay, we defer it to the new authority and that'll be it. No more discussion. Thank you, Chair.
I totally agree with that, because quite honestly, I was quite annoyed that they called a HR.
Mark wanted to come in first.
Oh,
Mark.
sorry, I couldn't see.
Mark.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Sorry, Pamela. Chair, I just want to bring up that I don't know whether other members have, but I received an anonymous letter about the...
Yes. And it's totally wrong. Information is all wrong.
Okay.
It's a very distorted one. But I know one thing. That person, and I don't like anonymous ones anyway, right?
Yeah.
That one, as far as I'm concerned, is out of context, and we've ignored it. We've given it to the chief officers. You've had a copy of it as well, right? Okay.
That's all I wanted to know, Chair. Thanks. I'll just delete it then.
I mean, its figures there were totally incorrect anyway.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Looking at the terminology, we feel it was someone inside the system. All right.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
I do apologise for interrupting, but I couldn't see who else had their hand up. But I must say I was annoyed that they actually called a HR meeting without any consultation whatsoever. And this was just up to us. And we took the right decision in that committee to defer it to the whole authority when we had a discussion.
Thank you, Pam. Lynn?
I move we put it to the vote, Chairman.
All right, thank you. So we'll move then that we agree to the recommendation to the
I'll move it then, Chair.
further until the new municipal year, enable further information and budget implications to collated and presented. It's been moved.
Yeah, I moved it. Yeah.
Second.
We'll take a vote. Chris, will you take a vote?
Yes, sorry, Chair. Councillor Davies?
Yes.
Councillor Blackburn?
Yes.
Councillor Colburn?
Yes.
Councillor Diaz?
Yeah.
Councillor Drake?
Yes.
Councillor Evans?
Yes.
Councillor Hussey?
Yes.
Councillor Jarvie?
Yes.
Councillor Matson? Councillor
Yes.
Matson?
Yes.
Councillor Norton?
Yeah.
Councillor Roberts?
Yes.
Councillor Smith?
Yes.
Councillor Spencer?
Yes.
Councillor Thomas?
Yes.
Councillor White?
Yes.
Thanks, members. That was unanimous. I go for short
Yes.
Chair.
I go one.
No, go on. I need to move.
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, crumbs. Yes. Sorry, I do apologize.
Just let the Treasurer know that he can vote back on.
Right, go to item 8 now, which is reports for information only, so no voting on this. 8.1, Southwest Fire and Rescue Authority Summary Report Activity 2017 to 22. Page 151. Bill.
Thank you, Chair, and really this is a report for members to show the level of activity that through the good governance and scrutiny that you've been able to provide as an authority, that we've been able to deliver on your behalf for the last 5 years. So it's a bit of a summary report. And also, as the Chair announced, that I'd like to thank you, Chair, as well for your decade as stewardship and good leadership for this authority as well. And it would be remiss of me not to say that as well. Notwithstanding your 23 years as a member on the authority, which should be celebrated and applauded as well. So, members, I'm going to take you through to the Appendix 1. Starts on page 155. there's a structure and a layout of the authority, and I know there's going to be committee reports that are presented after this, so I'll skip over onto the years if I can. I'll just pick out some salient parts of the individual years, but I think if we reflect back, it's been a very busy period, and what this paper shows is a spectrum of activity that we undertake as a fire and rescue service. So 2017 to 2018, with the tragic Grenfell Tower incident in London, which had a significant knock-on effect to us as a service, including providing additional training to our firefighting crews with the use of West Midlands facility, an additional significant workload for our business fire safety inspecting officers to get round all our high-rise buildings and ensure that they comply with legislation as well. You can see then also we've got awarded the Silver Award for Investors in People, not just saving lives, but also changing lives, and one of 20% top organisations at that time to be awarded the Silver Award. If we fast forward to 2018-2019, we've seen the opening of the Community Safety Engagement Hub for partner organisations for us to work together to make our communities safer, and a significant piece of investment from the service, but also utilising Welsh Government funding also. Only seems like yesterday, but it was 2018-2019 when we hosted a UK RO Challenge Weekend, which was held in Cardiff Bay, where we retained our champion status, which was very befitting to do so on home soil as well. We dovetailed that with a safety visit, a safety village, where we brought over 80 community safety partners together and had over 20,000 members of the public flow through our safety village over that weekend. And for members that did attend, I'm sure you'll remember it was a very warm weekend, very well attended, and a successful event. Be remiss of me not to point out, Chair, the Fire Cadets opened another new branch in Aberbargad in January 2019, and then in 2019-2020, showing that we're leading the way by hosting a wildfire conference in Cardiff also. Learning from UKRO, we work with partners, South Wales Police and the Welsh Ambulance Service, to have that was the first ever inaugural 999 weekend at Cardiff Bay, which again, very successful and drew an even larger audience over that period of time. We then went into a 3-part documentary, Fly on a Wall, where we had ITV Wales follow our crews from Station 20 Barry. Viewing figures over 130,000, showing the good work and extensive work that we do as well. So our firefighters became the stars of the silver screen. Real Fire Training Facility was opened by the Deputy Minister, and certainly shows a level of investment and how Fire Authority members over their tenure the last 5 years and previously have taken how seriously they take firefighter safety with that significant investment, and also then a rollout of new personal protective equipment for our frontline staff as well. We then get to 2020 and 2021. I guess it would be framed as the COVID years, really. But on reflection for myself, the amount of work that we've done as a fire and rescue service to keep our staff safe, but therefore keeping our members, our community safe, has been nothing short of remarkable. From finance to fire stations, and from stores to fleet and everywhere else in between, we haven't missed a beat. We've maintained our operational availability throughout, and we've also assisted other agencies by firefighters being trained to drive ambulances, firefighters being trained to deliver vaccinations, and we've had many staff over this period of time volunteering to work at the vaccination centre or to drive people to their vaccination appointment if they didn't have means to do that. We also then re-accredited through IIIP, where we went up from silver to gold, but also were judged at silver level for the work that we do in supporting our staff with mental health and their well-being. We've also seen a significant amount of electric charging points being installed across the service, and that continues today as well. And then at the back end of the report, on page 163, you can see that the honours that personnel from across the service have been recognised by Her Majesty the Queen. You'll note, as the Chair announced at the beginning, the award of his MB last Thursday was a very, very momentous occasion for us to host that for you as well, Chair. So, and then at the back end of page 164, you can see actually what does this all mean? What difference do we make? And as you can see by the graphs on the back end there, the total number of incidents reducing, the total number of fires reducing, and deaths and injuries reducing. The only upturn in performance is probably other services, and they are incidents that we go to which are not fire related. And we are seeing an increase in that, but we are helping our ambulance colleagues more day by day. So I can generally say that South Wales is safer through the level of investment, support and governance that is provided by you as an authority. And then to the back end is our proud history at the bottom there around funding, which, Chair, I think you might want to make some comments and observations on. But after that, happy to take any questions.
Any questions at all? Anyone got any comments? Lynn?
No, I think it's very interesting to see.
Hang on, Val. Sorry. I'm going to ladies first. Lynn, come in first.
Yeah.
Lynn?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairman. Yeah, I'd like to ask a question. Your opening remarks was referring to Grenfell and the training that you guys have received. Can I ask the question, if that tragedy happened today, would your training have any effect on the outcome? Because as far as I can see, it would not. Because in the beginning, the fire service was wrongly criticised. That criticism was proved to be unjust. And we all know that the cladding, where there was falsifying of the test results, there was problems with the fitting of the windows, fire doors weren't in the right positions, and there was a lack of fire stopping. So this is surely outside the remit of the fire service. I'm not criticising you, don't think that for 1 minute. I'm trying to support you. And I'm just wondering, would the training would have any effect on the outcome of it? I know it's ongoing, and somebody, as far as I'm concerned, is going to go to prison.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Holmes. Yeah, the other bit we need to remember in that as well is that the fire was started in white goods. So there's a lot of work for us to do with members of the public around white goods safety, registering appliances and the like, so safety recalls can be notified to the owner. You're absolutely right. There was a litany of failures within the built environment within Grenfell. And as you know, we have found failures within buildings across South Wales, and we continue to work with responsible persons, owners, to ensure that the occupancies and the people living in those buildings are as safe as they can. We can never train enough. So the idea was that we went to West Midlands. It's the only high-rise facility that's available with carbonaceous burns in the UK. And we felt that that was the best opportunity to give our firefighters that realistic training. So all training will always be better and always come to fruition, irrespective of what operational incident you're at. Maintaining our operational competence and readiness and preparedness for those incidents is paramount importance for us. Maintain the safety of our firefighters and to maintain the safety of the public as well.
All right, great.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. That sounds very interesting. I'm interested to see what the final outcome will be with Grenfell. But like I said to you, it comes back to that document which I gave you a copy some time ago, last year, which goes back to 1980. I know it's a long time. I think you were in school then.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Just
still in school now, but
still learning.
Before your time, Judah.
Through the education.
You were around with them, sorry.
I know. Val?
Yeah, but it's good to have summary in this.
Can't see you smiling face, Val.
Pardon?
Can't see you smiling face.
No, my face is still there. I'm just smiling. It's Monday morning. It's good. We've never had a report like this. I can't recall. Hugh, thank you very much. So I found it interesting. Interesting point that Glyn made. The fires that are attributable to white goods. Okay. So it's a manufacturer's caused the problem, the manufacturer of that white good. is there any liability? It suddenly struck me, is there any liability on those manufacturers? Okay, I have a fire in my house that's attributable to the washing machine or something going wrong. It's the manufacturer, the product that I bought. I just wondered how it applied to insurance, whether the manufacturers are then to be held liable or are ever held liable.
I couldn't answer an insurance claim. I think the point I was trying to make, Councillor Smith, was that where people got white goods within homes, registering those goods with the manufacturer is so important. So if there is a safety issue with the goods, then the manufacturer can recall them and issue safety notices to individuals. And I won't take a stock of how many have registered their white goods, but it is so important that we do that with the manufacturers. So those safety notices.
I'd never thought of I'd never thought of the point. Okay, you buy an appliance, you think, oh, no problem, not bothering to register this. I've got my consumer's rights for the first 12 months or whatever. But there's obviously a sensible reason for registering. No, thank you, Hugh. Thanks.
Lynn, you want to come back in?
Yeah, with regard to the white goods, I'll take the point that's been made by Val and Hugh. But at the end of the day, Hugh knows as well as I do, if the building had been constructed properly, the fire would have been contained within the compartment. The fire alarm would have gone off by smoke detectors and everybody would have got out. But of course, what happened? There was one big inferno, something bigger that Guy Fawkes would be proud of. I don't mean to be flippant about it, but it was absolutely a disaster. It should never have happened.
Yeah.
All agree with that, unfortunately. Anyone else?
Evans was indicated.
Yeah, I ran my hand up all along, Tudor, but I didn't know whether you've seen it. That was all.
Well, you're not out of the way. See you.
Yeah, I don't know. You want to change the glasses? Just to say, to you, it's an excellent report. But what it does for me, it reflects what the service does, not just fires, just a wide amount of stuff that they actually do. And by putting this document there, it makes more people aware of what the actual service is doing without just doing fires. And I've shared this with people I know, and they're well impressed. So I think that, we should carry on doing this because it reflects well on the service. That's what I think.
I don't think we advertise enough what we're doing, to be honest. I mean, I've always said this, we need to get out to the public, and especially to certain people down the bay. You send the copies to them to, have we got one of these to give to our...
All our papers are open source, Chair.
I know. Let's have a copy of this when we meet our minister on the 7th, right? Present it to her, I will, right? Okay.
I think you should, because it's impressive. We should be pushing and promoting ourselves more. We're doing ourselves a disservice by not doing it, really.
I think we should be sending a copy to every MP within our, South Wales.
I totally agree with that. I think every AM and MP in our South Wales area should have this, and every chief executive of every council to show what we are doing.
And then we won't get such stupid things as the white paper, obviously, then.
I know. I know it's more work for you, but I think more we can publicise it, the better for us.
Yeah. You can see it's my last meeting.
But you can't feel it.
Honestly, it's my last meeting, taking advantage, and possibly the new chairman is taking it, trying to get his name into it. Right.
Yeah, you can get him in now before you leave, Tudor, so give it to him.
Chair.
Susan Wilson.
Thank you, Hugh. Fantastic report. With my second role in Torvine as CEO of a charity, I have worked with local servicemen and women around Torvine, even through lockdown. They supported various charities by fundraising. For 4 years now, they have supported members of the community and children of the community. At Christmas time, they've all pulled together. Austerity, as you know, and debt and food and everything like that has been massive through the pandemic. And these gentlemen and women were with us at all times. They didn't have to do it, but they did it. They volunteered, they went out, and they supported many families through Torvine. So thank you all for being kind-hearted and thinking of all of others. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susan. Anyone else? Right,
Councillor Smith's just raised a hand.
Who is it?
Councillor Smith.
Val, you coming back in?
Yeah, yes, please, sorry. Because it is a good publication, and it's the sort of thing that you could, if we could run off some copies, I know that I would be very happy to take it to a group of folks that I meet regularly and just leave it on a table or pass it round so that they could actually look at. You're talking of distributing to MPs and such like and leading people, but it's the general public as well that are very interested. And this is a document that they would be happy to look at. It's the right composition. So I'd really like to see it as a little issue for once a year. Thanks.
Right. And to the local authorities, I forgot about them the other day. We need to circulate, let's tell them what we're doing. And then perhaps we get more support from AMs and such when they realise what we're
Well, you
doing.
can send it to previous chief executives.
Chairman, sorry, I've got to go now. So if you'd excuse me, please, and I'll have your permission to leave.
Anyway, I wish you all the best, Glenn. All the best to you.
Not you, that. Okay, all the best. Cheers.
Right, can I go on to the last page there, which is 164, which is the comparison of budget increases. I take the opportunity now then to Lisa. You may all recall we had that bar on the levying, which we put the local authorities. Well, I rang up Lisa and I said, could you give me some more information on this over the 10 years? And she sent me a copy then of what that 10-year average was. Lisa, do you want to take it from there? Have you got a copy? You want to look at my copy? Which I got a frame, Sorry for this. What I want is I wish to put this on record as far as I'm concerned, to circulate to all the members and make the public aware of it. But more importantly, is to record our thanks for all the officers over that 10 years who've done a fantastic job as far as I'm concerned.
I think perhaps Chris deserves the credit here because I lifted most
Oh
of
no, don't praise him. I'm praising the workers now, right?
I think that the crux of it was over a 10-year period. Our average, unadjusted for real-term inflation, was less than 1% budget increases. So making us an affordable service to the public.
Well, more affordable. Unfortunately, it went up from 0.88%, unfortunately, to a very higher level of 1.01, which I say, the question is, no one, as far as I'm concerned, in the public sector can even meet that type of level of funding. And most of that was the salaries anyway, wasn't it? In that sense. I noticed again the Glamorgan Police, for example, Gwent Police, for example, 5% this for the next financial year. And the police have been very high over the years compared to us. So what I would like is that now to be circulated to all the members, and that to be put on record on the minutes, because I think that's a very important document. And then on there, my thanks and the members' thanks for the efforts over that 10 years of all our staff who have achieved that, and I appreciate it. You can mention on the bottom, yes, treasurer, all right. See him smiling, but no, I got to say from Chris's point of view, since he's been with us, and team with you, you've done a fantastic job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, for that. Yeah.
And would you please reflect that back to all the staff from the government, from the members of the fire authority? All right, and that'll be recorded in the minutes as well. All right. That's the most pleasant document I've had for a long time. Right, then we go on to the next item is the annual
Sorry, Chair, can we move and second that report?
Oh, I thought it was just not down.
Well, that's my
okay.
that's my decision as chairman. No?
Sorry, Chair.
Oh, I don't think it was a vote on that. No?
I'm supported by the vice chairman. Right, 8.2 is the annual summary of HR training reports 2021-22, page 165. Alison?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So this is the annual summary of the report of the HR and Equalities Committee. You will see in Appendix 1 there's a list of the reports that the committee have considered and made decisions on. Just to highlight a couple from my perspective, and just to say thank you very much to the committee for the support, challenge, scrutiny along the way. Some of the highlights for me are the launch of our new personal review process, the mental health strategy work, the review and endorsement of the people plan, the learning pathway work that we've shared with the committee, and the support in terms of us becoming a real living wage employer. The reports on activity in particular were around the occupational health unit, the activity that they've undertaken during 2020-21, the absence management reporting, discipline and grievance, and the gender pay gap reports. So quite a lot in terms of the HR side of things, as well as the training reports. So looking at apprenticeships and bringing to bear the work that we've done on invested in people. And as Hugh mentioned, the gold award that we received for people and silver for wellbeing. So really thank you very much for the committee for your ongoing support.
Pam, do you have any comments?
No, I'd just like to thank all members of the committee for the work that's been done, which I think we've achieved quite a bit. And I'm particularly pleased with the mental health strategy, because that's been really taken on board, something that didn't happen years and years ago. People were very nervous of coming forward and explaining about their mental health, but we've taken it on board, and thank you very much, everybody involved.
Thank you, Pam. Right, we note that report then. Then we go to 8.3, Annual Summary of Local Pension Board Reports 2021-2022, page 175. Alison?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So very similar to the previous report, but about pensions. And the format of the meetings have very much been around looking at our SLAs, KPIs with RCT, our Pensions Administrator, reviewing our terms of reference as a committee, and really sort of focusing on the issue of the day, which has been the MacLeod Sargent ruling in terms of fire pensions and other public sector pensions. We've also taken the opportunity throughout the year to put some time aside to look at our own development. So we've received a training session at each meeting. So we've broken it up. We've had decisions as the first part, and then looking at our own upskill for the second. So again, thanks very much for the continued support from LPB members. I know pensions are a challenge, but you've made it more helpful, and we've got through it together over the years. So thank you very much.
Dave, do you want to make a comment as chairman?
No, I just thank Alison for the work. I think I know more about pensions than anything. Well, I don't know what everybody else, at least they might know more pensions than me, but no, it's a good thing, and it's nice to see that we got a continuation of the FPU, because they weren't attending the meetings through different things, so we got the right amount of unions that attend the meetings, so I'm quite pleased with that.
Thank you, Steve. Right, then we go to 8.4, Standards Committee Annual Report 2021-22 and page 183. Heather?
Thank you, Chair. This is a report for information for members regarding the work of the Standards Committee in the annual year 21-22. As a matter of good corporate governance, in the 2021 annual governance statement, we introduced an action to begin an annual report on the work of the Standards Committee to provide the authority with an update on its activities during each financial year. This is also something that is required now under the Local Government Election Wales Act 2021. So members will see at Appendix 1 the inaugural copy of the Standards Committee annual report, which identifies, explains the background of the committee, their terms of reference, the members that we have on the committee, the work that they've done across the year, including any training events that they've had, issues that they've discussed, Members will see on page 193 at section 6 of the report that we've actually had no complaints of the breach of the code for authority members throughout the year, and then the report concludes with some useful contacts. So happy to take any questions from members.
Yeah. Well, I think, when you say that cases.
Councillor Roberts.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'd like us to give our thanks to Geoffrey Hughes, who chaired that. He's now had to stand down because it's the end of his term of office, and he was there for over 11 years. So I just like us to send our thanks to him for his stewardship of that committee. Thank you, Chair.
Have that recorded. When you say there's been none case of, complaints and breach of code of conduct this year, I can't recall any case, particularly now 10 years anyway. I can't recall in my 23 years of any member being taken up through the Standards Committee. So I think that reflects on the conduct of those members. Anyway, thanks for that, and we'll note the report. Right, then we go to 8.5, which is the work of the Public Service Boards, PSBs as we know it, page 195.
Thank you. Well, thanks, that's me. If I can present that report.
Beat me to your name, man, that's the trouble. Too quick.
Thank you. I won't take too long with this one then.
Mr. Wayne Thomas.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you. This is the annual report presented to the authority. This will be the third iteration of it. And the aim is that members note the contents of this report and endorse the content of the wellbeing plans of the respective PSBs. As you'll all be aware, South Wales Fire and Rescue Service is a statutory member of each of the public service boards. And each public service board has written a wellbeing plan for the period covering 2018 to 2023. This report has been written as a result of each of the PSBs writing a year 3 update of that plan. The report provides links to the work undertaken by the PSBs in year 3 of their plan and explains how this impacts on the work of South Wales Fire and Rescue Service. The planning, performance and risk team, which I oversee, has worked with the 5 group managers that cover unitary authorities, and we reviewed the business plan in order to provide some parallels between the work we're doing and how that directly feeds into the improvement objectives or the annual objectives in the PSB's reports. The report I provided itself then is just an overview of the roles and responsibilities of the PSBs, and then the report has 9 appendices. They start with the PSB's objectives. They all range from, each of the PSBs range from having about 4 objectives, and I think the highest is 7. There's a summary then of the PSB report itself and the work of the PSBs as inputted into their wellbeing update. And then what's been input then in addition is an overview of how South Wales Fire and Rescue Service has contributed directly to each of the plans. The main aim here is, and I hope that this provides reassurance that the organisation continues to proactively contribute directly to the work of each of the PSBs. That's a whistle stop. I'm happy to take any questions at this point.
Anyone got any comments? No. Well, just mention that our Chief Fire Officer is the Honourable Vice Chair of the Greater Gwent PSB. No other one wants it? No one else. Anyway, that's reduced it now down to, I think it's 5 now, instead of the original 10. And I think discussions going elsewhere. I'm not sure what's happening on that one, but at least that's the way forward. There's no questions then, all right, so we note the report. Then we go to 8.6, which is the Fire Authority Committee meeting dates for 2022-23. Page 225. That's noted, all right?
No. All right.
Oh no, you've raised an issue, right? Madam.
Yeah, I find it very strange on this thing that you've got a local pension agenda
for the same day as the annual general meeting, where nobody knows who's going to be on that committee. So you can have a pre-meeting. You don't know who's going to be on the committee.
Thank you for pointing that out. What we did, we followed the same calendar as we did last year, where we asked members who were voted on to the local pension board to stay on for an agenda meeting afterwards. If that's going to be problematic this year, I can relook at the.
Well, it could be done. We don't know who's coming back, do we?
No, it is a particularly challenging year.
So that's my own personal view. You can't have an agenda meeting on the same morning as the AGM. You could have it afterwards, later on, but you couldn't have it.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, yes, that's Sarah. I mean,
Yeah.
Once the new members come in, then you can sort that out.
I'm not being awkward, but I found it quite strange.
I know you make, at the end of the day, somebody can sort out the time once you know who's who, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'll take that on board. The only thing I did want to point out to returning members is that you will notice that there have been 6 potential dates put into September for the presentation evening. We are likely to have 2 presentation evenings in September, not 6. So we're just giving a forward advance notice of potential dates, but we'll be able to hone that down once we know the availability of the Lord Lieutenant, etc.
Anyway, you took note of the Vice Chairman when you said we were going to have that before the AGM.
Yes, and as you said earlier, Tudor, every day's a school day.
Not a pressure, Sarah, I appreciate that now, don't you? But yeah, you're capable of dealing with that anyway. Right, 8.7 is the members' attendance during 2021-22, which is self-explanatory. 1 or 2 I'm not very happy with, but I think we must get a bit more stricter on this, I think, Steve. All right? There's 25% attendance, and this is good reason for long-term illness or whatever it is. It's not very good as far as, and this could be, it's a public document at the end of the day. And one thing I don't want to feed back to the Welsh Government members, and they criticise us, and without any evidence in the past of the, how can I put it, of the way that some of the members don't question officers, blah, blah, blah. Last thing we want is a bad attendance. And when they're talking about the reduction of members, it gives them ammunition, doesn't it? Okay, then we got the forward work program, 2.3 on page 239. Darren?
Yeah, this the work program now is pretty much concluded. So everything that's on the agenda today concludes the municipal year for the authority, with the exception of the one report, which is the work of the annual report of the Finance Audit and Performance Management Committee and the Scrutiny Board. Obviously, there's meetings taking place on the 4th of April for Scrutiny Board and the 11th of April for the FAPM Committee. And if I can pass my thanks on to Councillor Steve Evans and the members of FAPM for agreeing to schedule in that additional meeting, which will allow us to conclude all the.
Can I ask you to omit the council bit, please?
Sorry, Steve?
Because of Purdy, you can't mention it.
Yeah, for normal business, Steve. It is. So yeah, it's just that we need to conclude the audit processes for the year and set out our internal audit plan for next year. So we needed the additional meeting. So that report will then be brought back to the first meeting of the Fire Authority next year.
Okay, we all know that then, and nothing submitted on business for me as the chairman.